We'll call the December 9th Stakeholders Committee meeting open at 5 o'clock. So I think we've got attendance-wise, we've got full house except for Mr. Hutnack.
People got sworn in.
Yep, I think he's still working on getting sworn in. So I think the first item is just the public schedule for 2025 meetings. I think we've got 2 meetings we're going to propose for January, along with the remaining meeting that we have for this year, which is December 23rd. So that would be the next 3 meetings. We need a vote, I think, to approve the scheduled meeting for 2025 for the 2 January meetings.
Motion to accept the meetings.
A motion by Mike Zwigger.
Second.
Second by Colin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we're good there. Next item is just the drafting of the stormwater bylaw. Just for the folks at home to catch everybody up to date. At our last meeting, we took the probably more friendlier and easier version to digest. We took the Uxbridge bylaw and ended up bringing over all the changes that we worked in for the last several meetings and brought into their format, and ended up making the proposed Article 11, which is the stormwater bylaw with the changes and edits to date. And we've got Nick, our consultant, online for the stormwater to help us with the discussion around the map. I think that's the big thing that we've been kind of needing to get addressed and weighed in on. Nick, welcome to town of Douglas in a way, virtually.
Me.
We can hear you.
All,
Is it mute?
Speak up a little bit. We couldn't hear you for a second.
I just said thank you. Thank you for having me.
Cool.
All right, we got you now.
Good deal.
if I can, the map looks awesome.
Yep. So you're, all right, so Mike's happy with the map, which is good. Nick, if there's one section that is highlighted, which we don't, I'll speak for myself, I don't think is ever going to be able to drain into the Mumford River on South Street, which is Old Farmtown Road in that area. That's the area, if you're looking at the map, it's probably the southwest area, based upon your north arrow. Is there anything besides, if those people had to file a stormwater, should they be doing any work or anything like that on those properties? Is there anything that we could put in to the bylaw, or should we put in the bylaw, giving them the right, or the agent, I think, is the thing I was thinking of, like, to weigh in on it? Discrepancy from the map versus the downtown area.
I mean, the way we've done the map so far, we've really tried to zero in on the absolute minimum that is required to meet the MS4 regulations. So that's what's kind of brought us to these multiple iterations that we've done.
Okay.
We're trying to get the town to be able to comply with the permit. You are well within your rights to add additional areas within town into your regulated area, and it is entirely up to the jurisdiction of you and the other boards of the town.
So what I was kind of contemplating is, we'll make sure that there's language in there that maybe like the planning board would have the kind of the right to waive the stormwater if it, or
Why would we do that?
I just have a question. On one of Nick's emails referred to, there was an email dated back in September, and you're saying that the MS4, which was a starting point, within an area, technically only the areas that discharge into the town MS4 drainage system and go to the waters of the U.S. are regulated. So there's certain areas, I guess I'd like to know the definition. I know it's a long definition for the waterways of the U.S., which was like 77 pages, I believe, right, Margaret? And there's areas in town that there's no rivers. If it goes into a detention basin, is that considered a waterway of the US?
You hear that okay, Nick?
I think he's locked up.
I know, I thought he was frozen there. I wasn't sure if he could hear you because the mic to Colin,
The what?
using the mic.
There he is.
Sometimes we pick up the audio.
That was weird, I just missed out on that, sorry about that.
Sorry.
All right.
Do you want Colin to repeat his question?
Sorry about that, so you were saying?
So in an email, a previous email you had sent out, there was language, there was verbiage in it that said within that area, technically only areas that discharge to the town's MS4 drainage system and go to waters of the US are regulated. So
Correct.
if you have a detention basin, is that considered to go into waters of the US? I know it's a municipal infrastructure.
A detention basin is not a water of the US. Where it gets a little bit tricky is that the way it's worded is that anything that could get to the water of the US during any storm event. So theoretically, if you have a 1,000-year storm event and the town is basically underwater, if that somehow connects to water of the US, technically anything like that has to be regulated. So, take that for what it's worth, I guess. But a detention basin by itself is not a water of the US.
Okay, so would those have to be regulated on the map that we currently have, the updated map that you provided for us? I guess that would refer back to what Les's question was.
Yep.
Because there's areas that in town that have a lot of those are just detention areas that don't discharge, they're not point sources going into a river or a waterway.
Well, if it goes into a detention basin and then the detention basin outlets into a water of the US, it's still regulated because it goes to water of the US. It doesn't distinguish between treated stormwater or not treated. It just says, does it go to a water of the US?
Okay. So what if there's no waterway there?
There is.
If there's no waterway there, then we could potentially
Wetlands back there, yeah.
deregulate it.
But not
I mean,
on another
we've done the mapping based off of GIS and topography and sort of
Okay.
the best of our ability from a fairly high level. If you want to go and look at these and refine some of these areas further, you're welcome to do so, and we can revise the maps further.
So would the waterways of US, would that be considered, 'cause I know there's another, where I was talking earlier, was waterways of Massachusetts, of the Commonwealth. So
yes.
is there a difference between that and waterways of the US?
Yes. Yep. Waters of the Commonwealth include more water bodies than waters of the U.S. And the definition of waters of the U.S. is always changing and has been changing for decades. The current definition of waters of the U.S., the way I understand it, is basically something needs to be connected into the ocean. And the distinction is, so something, say, like a kettle pond that doesn't have an outlet, that is not a water of the U.S. It is, however, a water of the Commonwealth.
Correct.
So that's the distinction. They're a little bit different.
Okay. So that would make it consistent with what the illicit discharge bylaw that we have in town specifically says, the waterways of the Commonwealth, not the waterways of the U.S.
Okay.
On the current bylaw we have.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
So I guess, Mike, just starting with you, you're okay with the map with the revisions that he's made?
I think it's awesome.
Okay. Now we got clear understanding.
400 acres out of it.
Yeah.
The only thing that, to clean up, I think was brought up, was to remove some of those small catch basins that don't need to be on the map up around certain areas of the town, which aren't involved in the
Yeah.
particular aspect of the map.
Okay.
But I mean, this was the whole point, and the whole deal with the residents of the community was,
Yeah.
they're not gonna do the whole town.
Yeah.
And our job was to make it
Yeah.
as small as possible to meet all the requirements, and this has done it.
Okay. All right.
Can you get the map?
That way there, we're covered.
Yeah.
We're gonna abide by the law that's been mandated to us,
Yeah.
and we're doing the least amount that is
Yeah.
required to make it happen.
And I think that was the census
Of the
of,
whole,
the census of this committee when we formed.
well,
was
of the
we
town
wanted
too.
the
That's
town.
why this
Yep.
is never passed.
Correct. Okay.
So the only thing we need to do is just remove some of those catch basins
Yeah.
and the areas that aren't needed to make the map and call the name on the map and make it good.
Camera to turn. See it?
Oh, this won't show there.
No.
No, it's that camera right next to you that's feeding into Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Think that camera and move it.
No, I don't want. So, it's the blue catch basins in and around White Reservoir that we asked you guys to remove from the previous map, they were kept onto this one. That's all. They're not in the catchment area, they're just kind of on their own out there. Just wanted to remove those.
To eliminate any chance of confusion.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can see the delta between the two. On
There's a
the,
couple other ones
Yeah.
that are just sitting there.
yeah. No, look,
Let me reach out to Ian and I'll have him pull those off. I could probably get you updated maps, if not tomorrow, then like the next day.
Nick, just for the folks at home, can you pull up the map on your end and share it just so they see it? The latest one, just for the audience at home to be able to see the map that we're talking or referring to.
Share.
Yeah.
I have it on here.
I think it's, this will go this one here.
I think that just helps.
So you should be able to see this now.
Yep.
So what we've done is we've essentially taken
But it's not.
the entire town of Douglas. Now, within the town of Douglas, there is a smaller area, which is essentially this white background. And only these areas of this white background are the actual, they call it the regulated urbanized area. So sort of as a default, a community is in charge of regulating stormwater within this regulated urbanized area, which reduces the required regulated area to about this area of the town. It's probably about 20% of the town. So per the permit, you are then allowed to refine your regulated area further to only address areas that drain onto the town's roads, which then get into the town's drainage system, and then get into waters of the US. So what we've done is we've taken that white regulated urbanized area and refined it down even further into these series of, we call them catchment areas. It's these kind of pinkish red areas. And the idea is that only within these areas are people required to do the MS4 permit requirements. And what that has done is we've tried to really dive in to the details and only regulate what's absolutely required under the permit within the town of Douglas. And just so everyone's aware, this is a little bit unusual in that I'm working with something like 25 communities probably on this. And I think there may only be one other community that opted to go this route. Pretty much everyone else has done it most have done it town-wide. Some have done it within the regulated area. So over the years, this has been years in the making now.
Yep.
But Douglas has really tried to get into as much detail as possible to only regulate what's absolutely required under the permit.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about the townwide discussion a little later. No, this looks much improved. I mean, and
Through the chair, one quick question. In your personal opinion, you see no issues with going this avenue? Because we're meeting the law?
From everything that I have read and everything I have emailed and spoken with EPA, not necessarily about this exact thing, but similar type things. And the regulated area, you are allowed to do this. I wouldn't do this if you weren't allowed to do this.
Perfect. That's, yeah.
so,
Like I said, most communities go townwide because for various other reasons that is another story we can get into, but yes, the community is allowed to do this. You are meeting the permit requirements.
Thank you so much.
Yep. So Nick, just regarding the maps revision, so if we call this the 2024 map, the permit is due how often for renewal?
Actually, the draft permit just came out a week ago, a few weeks ago.
Fine.
Okay. So if I'm just speaking for myself here, I don't want to speak for any other members, but if we adopt the map tied to the bylaw and the map is good for 3 years, it has to go back before town meeting if the map changes, would that be kind of the path we go in? Because my concern is that, a map gets thrown on to a community from the outside, and next it's now 75% of the town, an outside map. So I personally would prefer that this is the map we went off of, this is the map we went towards, and if the map changes in the future, let the discussion change.
Right, I think the map would have to be updated. If you had a large subdivision come in that had infrastructure that was put in,
Yep.
I think the map would always have to
Be wrapped.
update that map as
Makes sense?
everything changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is the potential to change. It's a little bit unusual. So
Okay.
the original permit that was released back in 2003, the urbanized area was based off of the 2000 census data. And when the new permit came out in 2016, it was based off of the 2010 census data. They've since done 2020. What's a little bit weird is that under the census, they changed how they do the urbanized area. And from what I can tell, don't quote me on this, it seems like they're not going to be changing those urbanized areas anymore.
Okay.
You are still regulated, even though the definition of urbanized area kind of changed a little bit and maybe have gone away. You're still regulated, you're still on the hook because you were covered under the previous permits, but at least right now, at least under the 2020 census data, it doesn't look like they're going to come out with another set of maps that's going to change the area.
Okay.
Sweet.
No, it sounds good.
So,
All right.
I mean, I can't guarantee that it won't change. One thing that's a little bit different is, so the Charles River is their big focus, it's around Boston and everything, and obviously, you guys aren't in it. But the Charles River communities, under the draft permit that just came out, the permit says your whole area is regulated. Even if only a piece of your community is within the urbanized area, your whole community is now regulated under the permit. So there are some communities, like I work with the town of Lincoln, for instance, their regulated area is going to more than double. So,
Okay.
be a little interesting.
Yep.
But I don't see that happening in Douglas.
Would they have, a lot of the towns that you probably work in, they probably have half or three-quarters of the town is probably all on municipal storm drains with catch basins and infrastructure of the town.
Yeah.
Versus Douglas is very limited to any municipal infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the area, I mean, Lincoln is like you, it's pretty rural, there's a lot of country drainage and narrow roadways and stuff like that. Certainly you get in closer to Boston and it's a whole different ballgame.
Yep. Okay.
Our biggest thing is getting something passed
Yeah.
and sent in.
Yeah.
That's the biggest key.
Yeah.
At least then, if anything changes,
Yeah.
there's already something there. It's
No, great.
not a big deal. Right now, you have
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
idea is to get something,
Okay. No, I agree.
get something there.
So, all right. Anybody else want to weigh in on the map? Are we okay with the map, with the changes in the discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question on the map.
Yeah.
So Nick, what did you do to go from, to reduce the amount of shaded areas or subcatchments?
Yeah, so it's a great question, actually. So when we originally did this, when we were working with the town, this was like 6 or 7 years ago, you have to delineate based off of topography, so contours. And at the time, I think we used like 5-foot or 10-foot contours because we didn't have the computing process, the computing power to reduce it based off of a more refined contour. So now we either did it off of, I forget if it was 1-foot or 2-foot contours. So it's much more accurate. And we had kind of gone through this exercise with other communities, not for this purpose, but for something different. But we started finding that it was reducing the regulated area by 40%, 50% in some cases. So we were able to reduce it by quite a bit.
Technology.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, for example, I'm looking at the Woodland Road area, and I see in that subcatchment, there's 2 areas that are no longer in that subcatchment. And I just don't understand how those got removed when everything flows towards the road.
It actually flows to the back of Woodland. Woodland,
Yeah, the other one I think would go down South Street, the other.
correct. Yeah,
So-
on Old Farmtown Road, would drain down Old Farmtown Road, tie into Woodland in the back of Woodland.
So they're not dumping into the drainage there on Woodland Road, or?
Both of those areas actually loaded south.
Do they go
So
south?
that, I believe they would go,
I thought, well, there's a retention pond in the back.
I believe we're looking at here's South Street. So this is all the main road and that's the hill right there that comes.
Okay, so I can buy that one, but what about the other one?
This one, I think, I don't know exactly where this all ties in, if it comes out this way or not.
It does, it comes out down to the south.
And maybe
Oh, or so, all right, so maybe it's not going
It's
into.
not going the other way.
going,
It's not going into a catch basin.
correct,
Got
but it might come out the
got it.
back,
Okay,
Yep, that's what
And then he's-
that's what I can see with the.
okay,
and he's thinking the streams or
Got
whatever
it.
else from there. Okay,
okay,
that helps.
I'm good.
All right.
I just
Go ahead, Matt.
wanted to suggest possibly renaming the map to something a little bit easier to understand, or at least
Sure.
calling it the MS4 catchment areas map. I know you put that on the tiles, but I know this one's kind of the master tile map, but it doesn't say anything about, the MS4 or anything. I just wanted to make sure that we're clearly labeling it, right?
Do we have to say MS4 on it?
Or
Why don't we say 2024?
Stormwater,
Stormwater master tile map.
stormwater tile map, 2024.
Why don't you do
Stormwater,
2024 so you don't confuse it with earlier maps?
yeah,
That's what I was gonna say,
correct.
because we have a lot of maps
You
that I
got
go
too
off,
many.
of, different ones, they all look similar,
Correct.
they're not.
Do
So
it
if you get
December
some of the
9th,
wrong,
2024.
Yeah, all right. You want to call it,
Would it be wise to put in MS4 into that wording? Because
I think-
exactly-
Well, that's what I
think
was
it should
just
be too.
asking them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Do we need to have MS4 in there or not?
I would think so, then it's specific for what we're doing right now.
yeah.
Too.
I think
Right.
you keep the word stormwater in there too, right? So what do you guys,
There it's municipal.
yeah?
The only reason I'm questioning on the MS4, because you have other maps that are MS4.
Yep.
This isn't it.
Yeah, but the-
This
What do you
is
think?
distinctly different than maps that are already labeled MS4. So you start calling it all
Yeah.
MS4.
Yeah.
What, now you're
Okay.
saying, well, you mean this.
Right.
Well, no, we don't, we mean this.
Right.
This is the stormwater
Yeah.
2024
Yeah.
map, not an MS4 map.
I think,
Is it different?
Adam,
think.
I think Adam would
wrong?
have a better idea of what,
Well, that's what I was saying, like, I still go off of the 2016 one, so all my catch basins get clean. I'm even bigger than that map. I
Yeah.
used the first one that they came out with, I just kept it that way. We're overdoing it on our end, on the town's end, for that reason. So I don't want someone to grab that map that
Yeah.
I'm using.
Right.
All of a sudden, we're all gone, and now they grab
Correct.
that map that I'm using, and now they're going off of that. So
Correct.
you've got
So-
to really label this
what-
correct.
what are you thinking, because you deal with all the other maps. What do you think a proper label for this map would be?
Well, what do you think, Nick? What have
Well-
you seen them labeled?
Okay.
Just call it Town of Douglas Regulated Stormwater Area, and
2024.
then dated December 2024, something like that.
Put December in it, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Still a tile map, so
MS4
under
regulated area?
under our bylaw on page 6, under applicability, we have to be able to reference the tiles, right? And it's the MS4 catchment area maps, which are these individual inserts as part of this map.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's all basically I know we have the
Alright.
overview and then we have the tile maps. but I
Yep.
mean, we probably should
Alright.
just make it one map series and just
Alright.
name everything the same, because it's
Correct.
the same information, it's just,
Yeah.
one you can read.
So I think as long as it has December 2024 in it and the town of Douglas. I
Definitely
mean,
the date.
Yep.
and
Date.
Yeah, and you know what I mean?
Gotta be in
The month and the year. You know what I mean? It's not going to change beyond that. I think
We
that's,
reference that, should we reference that in the bylaw?
yeah.
Somewhere for 2024 tile map, or however you guys want to say
I
it?
think at some point you have
You
to.
have to.
Yeah.
reference
Correct.
exactly what map.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Like I said, if you don't, you're gonna grab it wrong.
Yes.
Or you
Yeah,
could put the
data.
verbiage,
Yep.
this bylaw pertains
To.
to
This map.
tiles, or Douglas stormwater tile map dated, or
Yep.
December 2024, or whatever.
All right. So I guess
What are we calling it? This one?
it's great. Question?
Douglas
I think I
stormwater.
would call it, something like Town of Douglas Regulated Stormwater Area, and then we'll do a dash, December 2024. So then in the bylaw, you can reference the latest version of the Town of Douglas Regulated Stormwater Area. And then you won't need to amend your bylaw later if the date changes on the map. That's what I do.
Perfect.
Very good.
All right.
Douglas Regulated Stormwater Area
Map.
Yeah, just gotta be careful, because you don't want to have to update your bylaw every time you change the map. Because every time you update the bylaw, it's going to go back to town meeting, even if it's something little.
About the stormwater area tile map, because there's still tiles, right?
Yeah.
So we're still gonna,
Yeah, I think
Reference.
what I'm gonna do is I'll send you an email with just one PDF, and it's gonna be the master map with all the tiles behind it.
Okay.
And the whole thing is just gonna be called Town of Douglas Regulated Stormwater Area, December 2024.
Okay, cool.
So you won't have that distinction between tiles and master. It's just,
One map.
this is the map of the regulated areas.
Okay.
And if you want to see the whole town, you pull up the first page. If
Cleaner.
you want to see the blow-up areas, you pull up the tiles.
Yep. No, that's much cleaner.
okay.
Cool. All right.
That cleans that up real easy.
I guess, yeah, just on the bylaw, we updated the bylaw at our last meeting. I don't, Nick, have you had a chance to take a look at an early version?
I don't think anything else really changed.
Okay.
I think my only comment was on,
14 and 15, or
Yeah.
15 and 16?
those two lines about projects that are jurisdiction under the conservation,
Yep.
and then projects that are jurisdiction to the planning board are listed as exemptions. And my comment was,
Can't be.
what are we trying to do with that? Because just because they're under the jurisdiction of another board, they still need to meet these regulations. So we just need to be careful on that.
So, recommend omitting?
Conservation or planning board can authorize the permit, but the projects still need to meet the requirements of the bylaw and regulations.
I think that's what we were going for, was that one of the, the planning board would authorize, if they had an applicant already before them, that there wasn't the additional oversight or even conservation. Go ahead.
I was thinking on the conservation one, I think that one, you probably could eliminate that number 15, because anything that goes before conservation is already going to require, they're there for within their jurisdiction.
Yep,
So it's going to have stormwater management
True.
regardless. They always do.
yep.
Primarily, that's a lot of their work.
So what I would recommend doing then is, rather than having those two exemptions, because the projects really aren't exempt, I would probably add some language under the administration section. And basically, it could be something as simple as, a duly authorized town board shall have the authority to authorize, to grant a stormwater permit as part of another equivalent permit process, or something like that. And the intent of that is that if someone's coming through subdivision or site plan or the Wetlands Protection Act, they don't necessarily have to go file a whole separate permit. They just, everything's at once, and as long as everything meets the requirements and is addressed, you're fine.
All right.
So if they're going through site plan review, they won't have to file for an additional permit even within that same board. So it won't be two separate permits. You're not going to have a permit for stormwater and the site plan review. So it would just be under site plan review, because that addresses stormwater.
The bylaw is not written that way right now, but we can write it that way. I've done it in similar communities. I'd have to look back at what we did, but it's something along those lines. You have your permit granting authority, which I think is in the Uxbridge one anyway.
Yep, so it's the planning board.
And you just say, the permit granting authority shall be, planning board or conservation commission, or you can authorize the board of selectmen if you want, and then you're really kind of covered at the high level, and, then a lot of times you throw in there, or other duly authorized whatever, and then you're really covered.
Right, but I think the subdivisions go before planning board. So.
Yeah, we can look at it. I mean, it's the bylaw I try and make sort of as broad as possible, because as you know, we only want to have to do this once.
Yeah,
Right.
So
that's what we've been saying, do it
Yep.
once with the gold star, and
So if we get rid of 15 and 16 to add in the language,
so admit.
Add in a 4E,
yep,
the authorized town boards or commissions can issue
yep,
stormwater permit under, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you know what you get the idea of what
You get where we're going.
accomplish, right?
Yeah.
okay, so we'll lose that one.
Yeah, I can take it my way. I can take a look at what we did for other communities, but I know we've done that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. So since you're bringing up other communities, so we've heard a lot of pushback or a lot of pains that a lot of communities who have done the townwide stormwater bylaw are now, especially the rural areas, I mean, Charlton, Sutton, Matt had a few other ones that he mentioned, Auburn, and I guess there's a handful now, but they're all dealing with the, over applications or the unnecessary applications of areas that are not draining into the waters of the US, and the fees and associated with the costs for those. So it's becoming a pain point for the applicants, the owners, as well as weighing in, on town services in those communities, because it's, applications and everything else in the process, just that kind of bogs everything down. So I think the direction that we're heading in, you don't be surprised if you see other communities that are rural like us want to kind of unring the bell and really just target areas that really truly need to be part of the application. So just my 2 cents on it.
I mean, it's probably, if you looked at the,
Mike?
if you looked at the regulations and to follow this bylaw, you're probably going to spend 10 grand in engineering to have an engineer come in and then try to find them today.
No,
Yeah, right.
no, it's
It's getting harder and harder
No,
to find engineers.
Especially if you're one and done.
Yeah.
yeah.
One person,
Yeah.
they're bottom of the list,
I-
way down the bottom.
Yeah, no, I
Years down the
think,
bottom.
and that's what the feedback I got from the other communities, such as Sutton and Charlton, was, it's $10,000 in engineering fees, and then it's a $15,000 system.
By the time you're done, right?
Yeah, that has to be done, and they're in the sticks.
And you got
I
a
mean,
homeowner that's
yeah.
just trying to do something.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
It's not fair to them.
yep. So it's a big upfront cost. So, that's why the town rejected this and wanted this committee to look at it more, so. All right.
Through the chair, one question, on our bylaws, did you see anything that we maybe didn't put in it that you would recommend to put in as to make sure we're covered on things? Or you're really happy with the way this is all written out, our bylaw?
I did review it. I didn't review it with a fine tooth comb, but I mean, I didn't, nothing jumped out at me saying, oh my goodness, they didn't have this in. I mean, I looked at the Uxbridge one, which I thought was fairly, I think it was fairly similar to the one that I had drafted for the town.
Yeah.
So no, I thought you were pretty good. I mean, certainly before the final one, I'll take another closer look, but I thought it looked pretty solid.
Good.
A couple of things I'd like to amend.
Yep.
Good. I'd like to pull from our general bylaw, our illicit discharge bylaw, the definitions for illicit connection, and illicit discharge, put those into this so that they're in unison, right?
What are they?
Illicit connection, it's number 6.
Okay, so that's in this,
So on,
just so we're getting everybody on the same page, that's the Article 11
Yep.
underneath the admissible storm drainage system bylaw,
Right.
this packet here.
so you're gonna put that in under,
No, he's just talking about the definition he's going to pull from.
The definition. I just want to take
Yeah.
the illicit connection definition and replace the one that we have in our bylaw.
okay.
So you,
Illicit discharge definition and replace the one in our bylaw, just so they're
so you'd
in unison.
you take in from 11, moving in into 12, or taking from 12, moving into 11?
Taking it from,
The existing Article 12.
Yep.
Which is to become Article 11.
Okay.
Pulling from our existing in-place general bylaw
Yep.
into our new draft bylaw.
Okay. Just want to follow. And this is number 6 in which one?
6 and 7.
6 and 7, we'll move over.
Yep. And just replace the ones we have in our bylaw. There's one other.
And that replaces these two. What, I guess, and just for the, Matt, just because the language is cleaner,
Yeah.
is what you're thinking?
I
Okay.
just- I don't want to really amend the general bylaw that's already in place.
Yep, yep. Okay,
another,
The only other one was,
okay.
number 9 on the illicit discharge is the definition of the MS4 system.
yeah,
So we might want to make that consistent with what's there versus what we have in ours.
it looks like it's verbatim.
Is it the same?
Yeah.
Okay. There was one that was, I thought was a little bit different.
Okay.
Let's check that. System.
It's really the only two I saw.
So,
Just kind of going from page 1
yeah.
down, right? So our definitions to be transplanted.
The only, here's the other one that has a little bit of a difference, Matt, is number 4, this discharge and pollutants.
What are we looking at? We in the bylaw or somewhere else?
No, this one here, we're going to be changing this one, and we're looking at the one that we're proposing, just to make sure the definition's lower.
That's
It's
the
in the
one.
folder.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's another bylaw we're
Yeah.
going
So
through?
discharge and
And
Yeah, we're just trying to align the definitions.
So you're gonna move 4, 6, and 7,
4, 6, and 7.
and we're gonna eliminate our illicit
Correct.
Our job is to look at this.
discharge and connection, and where you're gonna put 4?
Yep.
Before
We
it?
have one revision
Okay.
in here.
So those three, 1, 2, 3, move over.
Yep.
Which one?
All right.
Which
this is gonna
which were the
be
3?
4, 6,
Oh, 4,
7.
okay. So you, okay, you agree.
We're gonna be
with
going over where those 2 are.
one. Yep,
Then
that's it. Just adding.
Sure.
getting to administration, E, we just talked about the language we're going to put there, so
Yep.
I'll add that. Applicability A, there's language for the map. I'll get something better for that, we just talked about. And as we go along, I'll eliminate,
So may, I-
Yeah.
if you don't mind, may I ask going out and through this? So everything in through here, we're not calling our map MS4.
No.
But we're listing MS4 throughout our bylaw. So should that, anywhere where it says MS4 pertain to the map that we are complying with this? Like on page 3 of 9, municipal separate stormwater system MS4.
yeah, that's the definition.
So do we leave that MS4 throughout?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
all right. Do you have it?
So on applicability for exemptions, we're removing 15 and 16. And then under D, illicit discharges, after the paragraph, I thought about adding C, Article 12 of the Douglas General Bylaws. just as a reference point, since it's here, we're talking about discharge and then the reference to the other general bylaw at the end of item C, right? Or item D under illicit
It's always
discharge.
confusing when you gotta go look up another bylaw.
Yeah, so the thing is,
This
It's
is
always
the,
confusing.
Yeah.
Have it in here or not, or don't have it in here. Don't be having to go
So-
with something else.
D saying illicit discharge in here, right?
Right, but then it's regulated under a different section,
Correct.
so we need some sort of reference. I don't know how else to do it.
Yep. No?
The only thing I can think of.
Okay.
do we just remove it and let the illicit discharge permit prevail on that?
I think we have
Okay.
to cover it in some capacity.
Where did we go with the,
It's the same thing, just print it out.
It's not in red. I
okay,
added
okay.
it. I
Yeah,
added it.
yeah, I see you. I was looking for red, yeah, you're good. So they actually did change the number on some of this, right?
Yeah, checks, 32s. Oh,
See,
sorry.
but, no, that's not
It's
it.
in red up top on
I was
page
gonna say, that's not the correct one.
forestry cutting practices under wetlands.
Yes, because the other one is for a forester, the other one is for not.
Right,
That pertains to this one, wetland regulation.
yep,
Yeah, 310 CMR, there we go. You did do it in red.
yep.
Okay.
Perfect.
There was another one that had marked.
Almost like we're ready to have a final draft at our next meeting, possibly.
Well, I have a couple of minor comments. I don't know if it's worth going over.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay,
start
this
from the
is,
top.
yeah, page 1, A2, require, this is, you may agree or not, require that the quantity and quality of stormwater, get rid of amount.
Okay.
Number 3, establish stormwater management procedures and not standards.
We dealing with procedures or the bylaw? Or,
We're not establishing standards, correct? There's already standards established through the mass, correct? We're just establishing, or we're, procedures, correct, or
Policy,
policy?
yeah, okay.
I think we,
Bylaw, the regulations that we'll be adopting will have standards in them.
But we're not establishing standards, correct?
Yeah, we're just
this
doing,
bylaw gives us the ability to establish those standards.
Oh, all right, then,
Okay,
okay,
all right, leave it
good, just a comment, that's all right.
okay.
Number 7, I don't know if we want to put prevent, minimize, and eliminate stormwater discharges to the town's municipal. I threw minimize in there,
Okay,
yay or nay.
sure.
Okay, number 8, the next page, prohibit illicit connections and unauthorized discharges to MS4 and instead of require, promote the removal of all such illicit connections. Promote instead of require. Just a thought.
Sure.
Then, okay, page 4 of 9 is just a formatting issue under person, and then you got pollutant in the same paragraph.
Oh, yeah, I
Just-
see. That needs to be its own definition.
Yeah,
That just has to be brought back over.
okay, and then, okay, so now this is under page 6 of 9, applicability, exemptions.
Hold on. Section 5, right?
I'm sorry, I
Section-
gotta go back to pollutant real quick.
Okay.
There's a different definition in our general bylaw, and it's much more intense. There's a lot of pollutants listed here.
That's it. Number 13,
Yeah.
so what are we gonna do?
Pull that one over as well.
Yep.
This bylaw doesn't really cover pollutants.
So,
yeah.
Maybe we remove it. It's not referenced anywhere else in the bylaw, I don't think. I could check it.
What page you on that? Page what?
Yeah.
three?
4.9?
4.9?
Yeah, but
The other one is on page,
another one,
item 13.
yeah. On the illicit discharge
Compare, huh?
permit, it's number 13. But
You got all these pollutants here,
Where's that?
The illicit discharge?
What are you
Articles.
thinking of?
the two definitions.
Packet.
It's in the packet here.
Right there.
You want them to be
Okay.
consistent, right?
Yep.
That's what's the current bylaw, that's for the.
But if we're not calling out pollutants
For the illicit discharge.
in the stormwater,
I don't think we are.
then we don't need to have the definition.
I don't think so.
I would say remove it or make it consistent.
It falls back on this one.
Yeah, it's going to fall back on the illicit
Let's
discharge.
remove pollutant.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, Margaret.
Okay, sir, continue on, let's see. Now, back, section 5, applicability, page 6 of 9. And this corresponds to exemptions too. So, under 5B, it talks about the hotspots and road salt storage areas. Now, that's going to stay a hotspot, but do you want that exempt under the highway department? Because I know if you go to exemptions, when it talks to number 14, it talks about normal maintenance improvements of the town of Douglas's publicly owned roadways and drainage structures. Doesn't say anything about salt sheds, so you might want to capture
Can they-
that.
Well, can those be exempt? Matt? Can we exempt that stuff or not?
You're asking to Nick.
What about remove the definition of hotspots and then eliminate that section?
Or put it under the exemption for the DPW.
Yeah, but can they?
Yeah.
Thing is, can they be exempt?
Well,
Not really, can they?
Not really.
Right, by law they
You know,
can.
you can kind of exempt like maintenance and stuff like that, but I mean, if you redo your DPW yard, you can't just exempt yourself.
bummer.
I knew that. They have to follow that.
Okay.
You can't
They
exempt.
should.
Well, some towns, municipalities, have written right there in the first, one or two, that they're exempt.
You can't have it say as they do.
Oh, no, I'm just saying.
I mean, it's,
I'm
if
saying-
it's in that
Yeah.
area,
But to the point, I think we have to address the salt barn. So we need to put some framework around that.
I had a question mark on that, let it be. I had a question mark.
Yeah,
next.
but
Yeah.
I was thinking eliminate that whole section in its entirety and then,
you can't though, not if it's in the area.
no, it would still
Yeah.
apply to the permit, but just this section B, because this is saying, it specifically calls out and says that you have to have a stormwater permit for a hotspot. So if you eliminate the definition of hotspot and eliminated that, it would still fall underneath the blanket of the whole.
I think you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
I would kind of get rid of it, I think, and then just leave it such that you only got to come in if you disturb an acre.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting at, whether you eliminate the hotspot area, eliminate
You
that
know,
whole.
Otherwise, I mean, yeah, if you get rid of it, then you don't have to come in unless you disturb an acre, and in all likelihood, you're not going to be disturbing an acre if you redo your salt shed.
Yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, all right.
So
That'd be
eliminate,
smarter.
Well, I mean, some of these hotspot areas are pretty legitimate development. Auto salvage yards, auto fueling facilities, those are major impact. So we eliminate those, like, how do we eliminate that? And
You
not
don't.
one thing,
Yeah.
not the other.
No, you don't.
no, I would say eliminate because that wasn't in our original bylaw, that was the one we carried over from Uxbridge. And that was one section I had
Commercial
highlighted that.
parking lots with high-intensity use,
Well, that would
I guess
still
those are
be
the ones you
triggered
want to
if it-
capture.
right?
Right, that's right. That's the intent probably of this,
I think so.
is to catch those. I have one other thing, this is my last one, under,
Move the highway barn to an area that's not in the zone, then you're golden, you have to worry about it, right?
Yeah, right.
Instead of putting it in the zone, get it out of the zone.
It's not, it's not in the zone.
Right there.
It's not in the zone.
Not in the
No, I
zone.
looked, it wasn't in the zone. I may have already looked that up. Let me throw that one out there, guys.
so one other thing,
Okay.
under,
So what are we gonna do back on that? Just leave it, or what? I mean, before we move on, how are we gonna?
I think it's gonna stay because of you got junkyards and you got big parking lots. And that's,
gas stations.
And that
Yeah.
was one of the big things when MS4 came about, was the salt and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we do our best to keep it clean from the yard, I mean, for now.
Correct.
So,
So I think we're kind of stuck in that situation.
Right, but this, I think this is saying, even if it's less than
Less than an acre, you gotta,
It's saying an alteration, so any alteration,
Yeah.
anything that's in that paragraph, you automatically have to trigger, it triggers the stormwater management permit.
Okay. All right.
Anything that,
Just a
anything,
thought.
anything in the whole paragraph.
Get rid of the whole paragraph.
No, because I think that's really the intent of this MS4, is to capture these high pollutant,
runoff areas.
yeah.
So,
We gotta-
And if you think about,
Go over an acre.
but you also think about, where do we have any in the map, the new map that we've gone through and put together? You've got the Z-Mart or downtown, because that's in the downtown area. We don't have any stuff down Route 16, you know what I mean, with salvage yards or anything like that impacting us. So I think if you look at what that's there for, and then do we have any really areas that are triggering it now that are less than an acre,
Never say never.
are already existing?
back for two zone anyway.
Correct, and they're existing, and they're already got drainage that rolls off their property onto the town streams.
Right.
So I don't think there's going to be any like net new, no one net new coming in.
My opinion is, I think it has to stay. It's just,
I mean,
So how you gonna word it?
well, I think I mean, it's you're triggering anything over an acre, right? And then if you're an existing hotspot, you already have something in place.
No, this is staying, the way I interpret that is that even if it's under any alteration,
Yeah,
any
any
alteration
alteration.
is going to trigger, not if it
Right.
goes
Correct,
over.
all right, so any alteration, so if they add on,
Right. I think you gotta dump that. Old B. Because you got any alteration, that means there goes your,
it's like an increase in impervious surface, so you add an existing gas pump onto an existing impervious surface.
Yep.
That's not technically an alteration, because you're not disturbing the earth.
And you're not adding to the impervious.
and this goes before the planning board anyways.
Right.
So it's going to be their determination of what they think.
What is that? What do you think, Matt?
Nick?
Nick? It's a gray area, right?
It's not required under MS4, so it depends on if the town wants to be more restrictive on that kind of development.
So you could eliminate the whole thing, it would still be fine.
then eliminate it.
I would eliminate it. If they don't have to do it, then why are we going
You
to?
don't have to do it, don't do
Yeah.
it.
Then eliminate it. Why put it in if we don't have to have it?
Right, get rid of it.
What do you think?
Because we wanted to cover these things.
Huh?
I thought we wanted to cover these.
Alteration, redevelopment.
We did, but the idea is you cover one, you gotta cover them all.
And a lot of that stuff is already covered through some other regulation or
Right,
law or
regulations.
But what and where?
on any, like gas pumps. I'm sure all the gas stations, that's already covered through all kinds of DEP requirements. And it's also in the aquifer protection bylaw.
So what do you wanna try to do then? Eliminate all of B?
So
Yeah.
if we
I would just
eliminate B,
eliminate.
that means we have to go back and eliminate the definition of hotspot.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
Okay?
So we're gonna, we're at a B?
Yeah, so to
definition.
eliminate that definition.
Definitions.
Okay.
And I think that's just,
On page.
So you're gonna eliminate
page 3 of
the whole hotspot paragraph?
on. That's the existing list.
Okay. This one here, page 3. Okay.
And just leave it by the mandate where if it goes over an acre, then it triggers it. If it's under an acre, like anything else, and it's fine.
And it still gets regular, it's not like it's just thrown out, you know, you
You still got to do
still have to
stormwater.
go through site,
Yeah.
you still have to go site plan review when you make
Yeah.
any kind of alteration.
Right.
You're still going before planning board.
Do we have to have that hot spot in there for definition?
No, we just talked about removing that.
Getting rid of it.
Eliminate that too, with
Yeah.
the hot spots?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So B is gonna go along with the hotspot,
Yeah.
Yep.
all right?
Well, then the only other thing that I see when we got under exemptions, maybe number one, and I throw this out to the group, any activity outside of the MS4 map is exempt. Period. Right off the bat. Doesn't matter about all this other stuff. If you're outside that map, you're exempt.
Oh,
Correct?
so,
Yeah.
I
so
don't know if that's worth kind of repeating. I mean.
would you add that as a second sentence as number one? That any, saying
Oh, yeah,
less than an
okay.
acre?
You could
And then
provide-
second sentence saying, I'd rather add
Yes,
it
yeah,
as
yeah,
the second
sure.
sentence saying,
I think keeping the first sentence.
I think it has to be there, connecting the two together.
Okay, that right off the bat, if you meet that criteria, you're exempt.
Yeah.
If you don't meet that criteria. If you're outside the map and you don't alter an acre, you're exempt,
Yeah,
not required.
you can't get any more. Because I don't want to bury it. I
Yeah,
don't wanna-
okay, all right, just, that's it.
Because I don't want also people's interpretation that if you are disturbing less than an acre, but we got to tie it to the map. So the first exemption is right there. If you're on the, you know what I mean?
It's pretty much almost under purpose or anything, that map should be almost like the first thing. Everything pertaining to this bylaw pertains to this map.
Map.
Then you move forward
Yes, so,
in reading.
Applicability is A.
yep, outside the map.
A or right on the very first,
Yep.
we're gonna leave it there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we say within the map and the catch basins shown in the map, right, there. But then underneath the exemptions, the first one can be outside the map, saying if you're outside it, you're exempt.
Oh, yeah. But what I'm getting at is on the very first page,
Yep.
in the heading,
Yeah, I think we,
everything in this bylaw pertains to map, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Right.
That way there, right off the bat, you know, this, if you're in that area, you're in that map, you need to know about this bylaw.
so,
It'd be number one thing, the top
okay.
thing.
So would you?
Right where purpose,
1A, yeah. 1A, and you add it on saying,
everything in this document or in this bylaw pertains to, in reference to map. Because that's what this is all about.
well, I was thinking of adding it on to the sentence saying, new development and redevelopment pertaining to, added it right in there as part of the last,
You could even have it before A, make it A. Everything in this bylaw pertains to this map, because it does.
Would it be appropriate under the applicability section?
Why not put on the front page so you know what you're looking at, the mini
Well-
open document?
I think it doesn't have to, I don't think,
Right on applicability.
it's applicability is where it needs to be versus the purpose. And I know what you mean, but applicability is where an applicant's going to look and say, does it apply to me or not apply to me?
I understand the purpose, right, the purpose, I know what you're
But
Yeah.
the purpose of doing this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
compliance of the map.
Yeah.
It's the purpose of the
Yeah,
whole thing.
yeah. So why don't,
That's why we're
yeah,
here.
so we can put it in, leave it in both areas. Add it to the purpose area and keep it in the applicability.
Either or,
It's not going to hurt to have the same language in both.
you're repeating, but if it's on the first page in the first sentence, it covers it all.
Yeah,
Either or.
and I'm okay with repeating because I think it makes, it reinforces it, clarifies it. It has to be in the applicability area. And if we add it in the purpose area, I wouldn't want to take it out of either area. I'd rather have it in both.
All right, I got it.
So what you're going to put under applicability, that it's that map?
Correct.
Okay.
It's already there underneath applicability when add it to the purpose.
I got it, right after that sentence, from new development,
Yep.
development within the catchment area map or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, got
Okay?
it.
Cool. All right. Anything else, Margaret? Any other edits and changes? All right. Cool.
I had a couple I'd just like to go through.
Oh.
On the, let's see. On page 2 of 9, on B, we should say Town of Douglas zoning bylaws. just says of the Douglas zoning bylaws. I don't know if that's splitting hairs, but,
Yeah, I'll put it.
okay.
Oh, so you're on B, what did you just say?
Intended to replacements of requirements of the town of Douglas zoning bylaws,
Yeah.
not just Douglas bylaws.
To replace, not replacements, right?
No, just not changing that, just put town up before Douglas.
Yeah, good point.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah, just a
that'll-
typo, that's all, okay.
Eliminate the word,
To replace, yes,
To replace.
yeah, not replacement, yeah,
the requirements of the town of Douglas zoning bylaws. Yep.
all right.
Under number 3, under agricultural use, it says that I know we had talked about that section, is the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Laws 131, Section 40. Is that the correct section? Because I know there was some discussion on that, and I think you had asked, Matt, you had asked Nick, should that be 128, Section 1A, because that section that's referred to includes mosquito control and a whole variety of other things that I'm not, I guess I'd have to lean on Nick for that, for clarity.
I'd have to go check the regulations on it. You're saying, can you spray for mosquitoes?
No.
in agriculture, or just in general?
You had put in a previous email that section that's being referred to, it's expanded, and the definition that includes mosquito control and cranberry bogs. So you said you're not 100% sure why it is that way, but that's what's in the EPA example. So Matt had asked the question, should it be cited as Chapter 128, Section 1A? So I don't know what the difference between those sections are. I didn't look up those sections. So I just,
I don't know. I'd have to
Yeah.
go look. I'd have to go look.
Yeah, I
Thanks
think,
for doing
I think we just gotta figure
I
out
mean,
what
you,
chapter.
you may not even necessarily need to cite an actual chapter. You just say, normal maintenance improvement of agricultural land as defined by the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, period.
There you go.
yeah,
It's basically almost any maintenance of agricultural areas is not regulated under the Wetlands Protection Act because it's not regulated under the Clean Water Act. So
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
so that might be
you
cleaner.
may be able to just simplify it and just say, if you're agricultural, you can do whatever you want.
Under the so just period after Wetlands Protection Act.
Okay,
Okay. Then I had page 3 of 9, under disturbance. We have to get rid of that word "or." That was discussed a few times.
And/or,
It's
right,
supposed to be "and" underlying soil.
right.
So that "or" is supposed to be scratched out.
Yep, got it.
That was already addressed, that was addressed. The definition for the MS4, that was exactly like that was, you said, Matt?
Yeah, it's
That was
it's
exactly, okay.
verbatim.
Right, so as long as that is, what was the other one? There was 2, under the Oxford, I was, when I had talked at the last meeting, saying we thought we had to have the definitions under, what was it, new development and redevelopment. In Uxbridge is a little different. They have the new development. It's not so much the issue, but I think the redevelopment is under the old Uxbridge, under the Uxbridge one, I think is probably a little more intended for what we're trying to do. Where
I
you
got it.
have to go back to the Uxbridge,
I got it right here.
yeah. I think it specifically calls out,
It says redevelopment, any construction, alteration, or improvements exceeding a disturbance area of 1 acre gross square footage where the existing land use is commercial, comma, or, they put institutional.
right, it's supposed to be industrial. So I think that would address the concerns, when we were all talking about how do you address a homeowner that was going to expand a little bit in the yard and on redevelopment, so that would be a definition clarifying that it's primarily redevelopment would apply to the commercial industrial areas, not residential for a homeowner.
Yeah,
But if they disturb more than an acre under the new development,
Right.
it would trigger it.
Correct. Yeah. So you'd add that back in?
So it would leave Uxbridge's,
Oh, yeah, just update it to the
redevelopment,
redevelopment.
right.
All right, what about the new development?
I guess that would be up to, that was, either way, it was just, I think it was the same
We just-
language, but just a little different. verb.
The way this is-
Just so we can add Uxbridge's language for that redevelopment, and we'll just change the last word instead of saying, it's a or industrial
Yep.
versus institutional.
Because the way this looks, it looks like anything it adds, makes it a total of an acre, and that'd be pretty easy to go over if you take what's already been done. The house,
Yeah,
the
so,
lawn, the driveway, that's easily,
Yeah.
could be 3/4 of an acre or more.
Yeah, but if we look at the map that we've got,
So if I could just weigh in real quick, so the new development and redevelopment definitions in the Uxbridge bylaw right now match the MS4 definitions for new development and redevelopment. So I would recommend you keep those as they are worded
in the Uxbridge, okay.
okay,
Okay,
And that's on page 49, right?
so,
yeah.
And again, this all relates back to disturbance of an acre. So just because you have a parcel that's, an acre and a half or something like that, you don't automatically trigger. It's
Alright.
only if you're going to be disturbing an acre or more.
so I've got the Uxbridge one right.
It's new, is that new disturbance? I mean, let's say somebody's got a house already there. They've already, obviously, probably disturbed. Could be 3/4 of an acre, their lawn. I mean, I got a front lawn that must be an acre.
Sure, yeah, it's only new disturbance, so
New disturbance.
it doesn't matter. So if you have an acre and a half that's a lawn and, a house and an accessory building and this and that and this and that, and you want to put in a pool, you only care about the pool and anything related to the pool. So if you have to build an access road or a pool house or a deck or something like that, it's only the new disturbance that will count towards that acre
But then it
under the
says,
permit.
in total earth disturbance equal to 1 acre.
Yeah, with the change in that though. too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you
Yep.
turn it. taking
So-
it
Going
out.
back, yeah.
So we want to move over the new development from the Uxbridge?
Yep.
We're good with that?
Yep.
You get a copy of that?
That's
Yes.
on
Okay.
49 on the
Okay.
top, right?
Yep, just want to make sure we're all on the same,
Yeah.
Same
Use
page.
Uxbridge.
Okay.
that way there, that's Uxbridge's language. Cool,
All right.
all right. Good call out.
Hang on one second.
One question, quick question I have. New. What is the definition time-wise of new? Reason being is if you disturb something, say, 3/4 of an acre this year, and in 2 years you'll disturb another half acre. Is it only new the year and the time that you're doing it? Or is it new period because you're disturbing land?
Great question for Nick.
Yeah.
Is there a look-back period? Is basically what he's,
He gave me an answer on that, September 25th. Nothing that gets that specific in the MS4 permit. Think of someone who's clearing trees once every few years, something like that wouldn't get covered. It's really geared towards large-scale developments like commercial, industrial.
Okay.
or subdivision.
all right. Leave the tree cutters alone.
In my opinion, the intent of the permit is to regulate large-scale developments and commercial and industrial. So you can't say, well, I'm building a 20-acre subdivision, but I'm gonna divide it into 21 lots. Each one is under an acre, I'm not covered.
Right.
Right.
You can't do that.
Correct.
If you buy a 2-acre parcel and you build, a half acre here and maybe, say you buy a 5-acre parcel and, you build 3/4 of an acre this year and then you clear some the next year, that's a half acre. There's nothing that says, oh, well, no, sorry, you can only do this within 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, et cetera, et cetera. It does say if you have a common plan, then a common plan that shows disturbance of an acre or more, you then need to permit it. So if you have a 2-acre lot and it shows, all right, I'm gonna build a house here, I'm gonna build my pool here, I'm gonna build my detached garage here, I'm gonna build my in-law apartment here, in one plan, and you're disturbing 2 acres, you're gonna trigger the permit requirement because you have a plan that's showing you're disturbing more than 1 acre, even if you then take that plan and phase it out over 3 years.
However,
If you have 2 plans that show that stuff split differently, you don't trigger.
Okay.
So I'm thinking of Bex, right? They're carving off a bunch of different A&R lots, and they're selling them over time to different owners.
Yep.
Even though their common plan is to sell all those off, it's individual landowners at that time who are then developing the parcels. Although it's part of a larger plan, how do you go after every individual
Can't,
person?
right, you can't.
You can't.
Right.
Yeah, something like that, I would say that, if you're selling the parcel, right, and you don't, no one knows how big these lots are, no one knows how big the houses are gonna be.
Correct.
You don't know how big the driveways are gonna be. You don't know the orientation of anything, so you can't calculate any impervious area or land changes. All you're doing is selling a piece of land.
Right.
To me, that's not comfortable.
Yeah. Which I'd agree, so.
Right.
Because the person might not even build on it for 10 years, nobody knows.
The trigger is.
So you can't trigger it until somebody decides to do something.
Cool. All right.
And to that point, you're not earth disturbing at that time. You're only triggering when you're disturbing the earth.
Right.
Yep.
Colin, did you have more?
On page 7 of 9, I know we had touched on that, number 5, repair or replacement of an existing roof of a residential, we just put of existing roof, period. I know that was talked about, and I was thinking on more on the larger scale, which I don't think that really would apply in this particular case.
Just to existing?
Just an existing roof, because it's not fair to simply say for a residential dwelling, and then you have a small shop that wants to do their roof, and something triggers some craziness or something down the line.
So just leave,
Just repair, replacement of existing roof.
and get rid of it, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then on the same page, number 9, after, it gives a few examples, like swimming pools, tennis or basketball courts. It specifically says a few things. Should we put some wording in there after that saying it was similar
You want to
to
take
a
out,
residential dwelling? So not, because it's explicitly saying a patio, a deck, a retaining wall, expansion of an existing driveway, construction of a said swimming pool, tennis or basketball court. So what if somebody has something that's a little different than what's listed right there? But
Pickleball.
it's the same
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Something similar.
Sporting court?
Something similar? I'm just saying something more similar, a pertinent to.
Would that be and or
resi-
similar items?
Right, I was just thinking after basketball court saying, similar, pertinent to a residential dwelling. So just add the words, or similar. Any thoughts on
you want to get rid of the word residential development
that? No,
dwelling?
No, it
or
doesn't.
residential, right, just
Okay.
add in the word or similar.
Or similar, okay.
After basketball court.
All right. All right.
Right.
Cool.
Then on number 12, the last we had put, any work or projects which necessary approvals or permits have been issued or formally submitted. I would say, or applications formally submitted.
Okay.
Oh, same thing on number 2. It was the same thing of the wetland questions I had with Nick.
Oh, yeah,
That
you
was-
can get rid of the,
Was that, are we citing the right section for that?
Yeah.
Unless we just say the normal maintenance improvement of land to agricultural use as defined by the Wetlands Protection Act, period.
period. Yep, get rid of the rest.
So we already had it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Makes it cleaner.
you did have it on there, Matt,
Yeah.
Okay.
under 2. So you can get rid of the one on the back page. Right? That means you can get rid of 13 then. The back half of 13. Because that's the same as what you just
Oh, I see.
went on number 2.
13, just
The back half of
forestry
13.
cutting practices
Yeah.
under Wetland Protection Act, period.
Yeah, because that would be covered then under 2.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
So you,
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So you did have it in there.
Yep.
Yep.
so we're scratching out the specific regulation, just saying on the Wetlands Protection Act, period,
Yeah.
right?
so,
Yeah, the red there.
I know, I'm just that's all,
Okay.
just going to the next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Oh, I just had the questions, if we get any clarification on the appeals.
Yeah, I actually was gonna,
Okay.
I wanted
Which
to,
one do you want?
I want to actually move them in different orders. We highlighted any decision from the planning board pertinent, that's the second one. I would rather have that up first.
Well, it's one or the other.
No, but
That's why I put them in here. Which one do you
Yeah.
want to use?
I think it's just a procedural, like, that the first one would be the appeal to the local ZBA, and then the second, it would just flip-flop those two.
Well, he's saying that's an and/or.
Yeah, you pick one.
So you gotta pick one of them.
Right, so eliminate the first one, but then flip
That's what I think.
you're saying flip the
Flip 'em.
bottom. Yeah.
No, don't flip them. Remove.
You're eliminating
Remove
one.
one.
You can't have them both.
Right.
One or the other.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
It's
why-
one or.
That's why I put.
Which, there's no such thing as a
No,
flip.
I think,
It's one or.
no, I think what he's saying, if I understand it correctly, is
No, he wanted to flip them and leave them that way.
no, the first section that was currently in place, eliminate that, and then under the second section, and correct me if I'm wrong, Les, what you're saying, is to flip that to say you go to local first, and then if you're not
Correct.
happy with the local, you can appeal it through the process that's set out by the statute.
exactly.
Okay, so eliminate the first section.
Well, that gets into the zoning board law at that point.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
You don't even need to cite
We
it.
we don't have to cite that, because if they appeal the zoning goes to the Superior Court.
Yeah, if they're not happy with
Yeah.
the zoning board decision, there's a different.
Correct.
appeal.
Right.
Yes.
Follow,
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you don't have to cover it.
So we don't have to, yeah, exactly,
So we're gonna get rid of the first section.
yeah. And then the,
Modify the second.
Yes,
yeah,
Do an
Okay.
amendment on the second section. There you go.
whatever the statute was on that has to be.
yeah,
Pulled this right from our site plan,
okay,
Which is fine.
all right,
so, yeah.
that makes it clearer. Yeah, because if that was my point,
Yeah.
is they have the right to go to the local
Yeah.
appeal board,
And then if they're not happy with that decision, they can appeal.
then they clearly know there's only one other option after that.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
100%, yeah.
all right.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay.
Put a gold star on it,
Yeah, I think it's,
ship it.
I think we gotta just get the final version through.
Did you take good notes, Matt? I don't know
Oh,
if you
Yeah, I-
want that or...
Yeah,
I got
No,
good ones.
okay.
all right.
Well, I'm sure we'll get the final version, we can kind of look through it.
Yep, and we'll look at it at our next meeting,
Yep.
and then we'll send it to council.
Yep.
What's our timeline, if I might ask? That way there, should we have a draft done up between this meeting and our next? Have council at least review it? So when we get it at our next meeting, it's been reviewed by both council and Nick?
So, what-
You know, that way there, when we
Yeah,
get it at our
yeah.
next meeting,
so
it's already been updated.
I think that, I'm just thinking the runway, right? Matt's gonna make all these changes, right? I don't know how long that's gonna take him, to be fair.
Correct.
Then he's gonna want us, to be fair, to look at it, send it out. And then how much time council's gonna have to take a look at it with the break
And-
coming up, you know what I mean? It may, I mean, it's up to you, you know what I mean? If you think you can get it done by the end of this week, and then, all right, so,
Well, the reason being is because we have to make it for the meeting, and you have to get this out
Yeah.
to all the boards and everybody else to look
yeah,
at.
all right. So I think once you make the changes and send it out to us, so we get a copy of it, and then, you know,
I'll send it to Nick. and-
Nick,
Yeah.
yeah, and then give us like 48 hours, and I'll give you the thumbs up to send to the council.
Okay.
Just if there's any feedback from folks.
We can't communicate about
Right.
it.
No.
All right.
But someone might call me and go, hey, this is missing. You know what I
But
mean?
that's why I'm talking about it now, because it's one of those gigs, we take a look
Or I
at
might,
it,
yeah,
or whatever.
they can reach out to you independently
Yeah.
for any
Yeah,
changes.
so you
We'll just do it
send
that
us
way.
the final draft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We have any comments, we either can email it
give you
back to
48 hours to report
or
back
drop
to
it
you.
off.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
And
that's
then
fair.
It's been reviewed by
Well, then it goes up to
Nick
council.
and council.
Yeah,
Next meeting it comes in, it's like, okay, here it is.
yeah,
This is what we want to pass forward to everybody. It'll be a yay or nay.
yeah.
Send it out, because now you have Christmas, you have New Year's, you have holidays all
Yeah, I know.
coming up. Now you're into January,
Yep.
and what's the deadline?
I don't think you're going to get council looking at anything between now and January.
Yeah, you will.
I bet you won't.
I mean, but
Yeah,
Everybody's taking-
For this?
Christmas is coming, are you kidding?
for this, you will. I'll make
They're all
it
at the
back.
parties.
is there anything on the,
Smiling too.
I have on the bylaw again, so, is there anything, if we send this, if Nick takes a look at this and says, I guess my position is that we only give what the bare minimum
Right.
requirements are that for the MS4.
Right, that's
Nick
what he
looks at
said.
that and says, is there anything else in here that's not required? If it's not required, if he could advise us saying, you really don't need this, you don't need this. So that way, then we go to town meeting, we say, this is the bare minimum requirements to get this passed. It's been shot down twice.
Right. So we ask him to tell us
Yeah.
anything that's in there that's over the bare minimum.
Right.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
anything he's done a scan, and so we can get that input back by the 23rd
Then
meeting.
we can decide if we want to leave it in or not.
Yeah. He can highlight something that has to come out or
Well,
whatever.
well, this discussion here tonight, we've already eliminated a couple more.
Yep.
I mean, we have to have something in there.
Yeah, exactly.
For people to understand what we're trying to do.
I know, I just want to make it clear.
But-
Yeah.
So it's
Is,
saying it's the bare minimum that we need to meet the requirements
Yeah.
for the MS4.
So the other thing is, I think for the 23rd meeting is that we'll have the meeting to go through the bylaw, maybe some feedback from Nick and town council at the 23rd meeting.
Yep.
And do we take, while we're going through the wrap-up meetings, do we take a pass or two at the regs for the planning board, just to get a draft going? What's your
I
thoughts?
also modified our existing Article 12,
We got to do that one too.
so I already did, and I
Yeah.
give it's not in color.
Yeah.
All I did was remove Conservation Commission and replace the planning board throughout the document.
Yeah, I think that,
Everything else exactly the same.
I think that's just going to have to be, sent around to the FinCom and
Yeah.
others as well, because they're basically, they're tied together a little bit.
I think Concom's gonna be okay with it.
Yeah, well, it actually helps them because it's been a lot of stuff that the planning board's been involved in and stuff like that, so it takes the pressure off of them
Yep.
and focus on the other areas, so. Do we want to, on the 23rd meeting, go through, take a first pass at the regs?
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Well, yeah,
You just want to go over it?
once this is all reviewed, the bylaw, once we know
Correct.
exact what we're gonna do, it makes it so much easier.
We're just going to have a couple
Doing
meetings.
regs.
We're going to have a couple meetings to go get feedback.
Correct.
Will you email the bylaw and the definitions too?
Yep.
Look at them, so we know we're looking at the right.
You have Carol, you got a copy of the regs here
I don't,
in your packet? No?
no.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in the folder, I think.
So it's the Uxbridge regulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Uxbridge regs that we're going to,
All right.
So
Tax
that.
maps, all right.
I didn't want, not to jump the gun on the talking with council about it, because I think we probably should go through the regs first in case there's anything that we need to tweak in the bylaw.
Right.
Make it consistent with the regs.
well, I think, so my thought is that we would,
Yeah.
so here's my thought, is
Want to add, I think that.
we'll have the December meeting.
Yeah.
We'll have the 2 January meetings. So then you still have the ability to go back on a bylaw to make a change out. I mean, if you,
Yeah, 'cause council's going to look at it
Correct.
around anyway.
yeah, and they're going to look at it before we go to town meeting anyways.
Yeah.
So,
What's the thoughts if council doesn't get to it, say for the 23rd? They put it Carol, they don't get
I
it.
think,
He's not going to get to it.
Do we have a meeting is my point, or do we?
no, I think we still have a meeting to go
Yeah.
through the regs, because we want to that's going to take at least 2 meetings to go through a pass.
I mean, it's a situation, it's simple.
I mean,
If Matt Kenny makes a quick phone call, says, hey, we're wrapping up our bylaw, we're gonna
Yep.
have it ready for you maybe
Yeah.
in 4 days.
Yeah.
And you take a look at it, because we're on a time restraint, you have another meeting on the 23rd.
yeah.
That's all you gotta do. It ain't-
And they,
I mean,
and they,
it's not-
and they still have time to take another, they could come back and say, hey, we did the first pass, and we still got 2 meetings in January to, if the council has something, but by the 13th and 27th, we should be, have a good edited version of the regs for the planning board to hand that off.
Yeah, because once the bylaw is done, then you adapt the regs to match with the bylaw. That's the whole idea
Yep.
of this.
We all set with Nick?
Yeah, Nick, I think we're
Thank you.
we're good to go.
Nick, go.
Appreciate your time, Nick.
Good
Thanks
Matt.
for the
Thank you, Nick.
feedback.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye out. I'll have Ian update those maps real quick, and I'll get that over to you. If not tomorrow, then probably Wednesday.
Awesome.
Yeah, great job on the map.
We'll wrap up the bylaw.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a
I
nice night.
appreciate it.
You too.
All right.
We have one set of minutes.
Yeah, let me just go, underneath third item, open session, nothing before 48 hours, no audience members or any items here, so. On the minutes, we have minutes for the November 25th meeting as written. So. That was a very productive meeting too. That's where we decided to.
I got Colin's name, last name spelled wrong on the motion to approve the minutes.
Yep,
Got that.
okay.
That's it, though.
Is everybody good with the minutes from the November 25th meeting?
Yes.
So entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Motion by Colin,
Second?
seconded by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to abstain because I was not.
Yep. Carol abstained and Adam abstained for the record, so. All right, our next meeting's on December 23rd. We're still shooting for 5 o'clock.
Yep.
And go forward from there. All right,
So hopefully before then, if Matt's going to try to get us a
Yep.
final draft.
yep, we'll give,
That we're getting comments
Yeah.
back before the next meeting.
yeah, 48 hours.
Yeah,
So when he sends them out, let's give, we got 48 hours to go back to him with any
sure.
edits or stuff like that. He can incorporate those, and then from there, that can get out to council. So that gives us a fair response time, and to go forward from there, so. All right, entertain a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Already.
Someone's got to move.
So moved.
Motion by Colin, seconded by Margaret, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There we go, thank you.